Hey guys, this is Ackleyattack4427 here with a brand new thoughts video for all of you guys, and wow, can't believe we've already passed the halfway point for the month of July right about now, and whoo boy, and man, I gotta say, it's really quite impressive that we've actually made it that far to be August. In fact, yeah, I guess quite literally, in fact, just 1 week later since after the last movie I've actually seen, I've actually gone out and seen the latest movie in theaters right about now. Man, who would have guessed? I'm actually extremely busy on that for sure, so yeah, I guess for today's thoughts video right about now, I think we're gonna be in for a real treat right about now, so yeah, I guess if anything, I think it's gonna be an interesting one to actually talk about for sure, because yeah, I've got a lot to say about this movie right about now, and there's a lot to actually get right to it, so yeah, and of course, much like the last couple of times for, of course, this month, I've had the kind people over at Crown City Cinemas up in Cortland to, of course, help me on that, so thank you as always. Always love turning to you guys to see the latest movie, so yeah. And I guess, if anything, I think we're gonna be in for a real treat on this one, and yeah, I've got a lot to talk about for, of course, this movie right about now, so yeah, I guess there's nothing much else I can say about it, so yeah. Alright. So yeah, I guess that's what I kind of figured I would do for sure, which I know is what you normally expect for, of course, these thoughts videos right about now, So yeah, I guess the only question remains, what movie did I actually go see this time that I'm willing to, of course, give out my thoughts right about now? Well, I guess I might as well answer that question with, of course, one certain thing that I need to get out right about now. So yeah, do you want to know the one thing I absolutely love? Well, aside from some of my childhood shows that I grew up watching for sure, and plenty of other stuff that I remember as a kid, I think there's a lot to be honest, but the one thing I absolutely love is, of course, the Looney Tunes. And I think I will say, who doesn't love the Looney Tunes? They're funny as always. The animation is, of course, absolutely spectacular, and even the characters are, of course, really likable and interesting. So yeah, who doesn't love the Looney Tunes? They are absolutely amazing, and they are really funny as always, and even to this day, they still hold the hump for sure. So yeah. A lot like everyone else, I really love the Looney Tunes a whole lot. And do you want to know what else I actually really love? I love basketball. Again, who doesn't? Okay, well, even though I never actually played it for sure, in fact, I think I do know I did have some good run-ins with it, especially during my years in school, but I will have to admit, basketball is actually quite fun. It's fun, it really gets your, it always gets your heart racing, and it's an all-around good time, so yeah, much like the Looney Tunes, even though I never really actually played it all throughout my entire time, I actually really do love basketball for sure, so yeah. Still a great sport nevertheless, and I'm sure I will leave it to, of course, some die-hard basketball fans that will really get into it. So yeah, that's mainly what I thought about it. But this actually would beg the question, however, what would happen if you tried to combine these two to actually make a pretty insane yet pretty ridiculous idea, but can actually turn in something that you remember as a kid, especially since when it first came out, and not to mention, my pretty much for the love of God, that I had to get this out there, is also the main subject for today's movie that I'm officially, and I mean, yeah, sorry about that, I must have gotten something in my eyes for a second, but it's also the main subject for, of course, today's movie I'm going to be talking about. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the question for sure. What will happen if you try to combine these two yeah, to actually make something, well, you get the idea. Pretty much something that we actually got back in the 90s, but it's also the subject for, of course, today's movie I'm going to be talking about. Well, the answer is actually quite simple. You actually get a pretty ridiculous and insane, but yet somehow pretty impressive movie for sure that somehow got a sequel that just came out very recently, simply known as Space Jam. Or in the case of today's Thoughts video right about now, which I am officially going to be talking about right about now, is none other than the latest movie simply known as Space Jam: A New Legacy. So yeah, I guess if you couldn't tell right but now, based on, of course, everything I'm actually saying, for today's Thoughts video right but now, we're officially going to be talking about Space Jam: A New Legacy. So yeah, I think it's actually pretty obvious right about now that I had to talk about the latest movie where, of course, you know, Looney Tunes have to play some basketball, but hey, I guess if anything, since the movie is officially out right about now, I think it's appropriate that I should go ahead and talk about this movie. So yeah, nothing much else to it. That's exactly what I'm going to be talking about. And I just ran out of water, but hey, good thing I got some backups just in case. So yeah, I just needed something to help quench my thirst for sure. So yeah. Alright. Okay, so now that I've actually got the beginning portion out of the way, I think it's appropriate that we should go ahead and talk about this movie right about now. But beforehand, I'm sure a lot of you guys are wondering on how I felt about the original Space Jam before I can actually dive right into the newest one that actually came out very recently. Well, that's actually kind of hard to say right about now, but I think I should go ahead and actually talk about the original Space Jam for sure. So yeah, I think I knew right away that pretty much around the time the original Space Jam came out back in 1996, I was about pretty much well over 1 year old around the time the original Space Jam came out. So yeah, I was basically a small little infant around the time the original Space Jam was out for sure, and yeah, it actually literally came out just pretty much about 8 to 9 days after my birthday for sure. So yeah, but I think I knew right away that even years later for sure, and as I got older, it actually became one of the main time capsules during the entire 90s for sure. So yeah, I guess if anything, I think it's pretty much what everyone has been saying about the original Space Jam for sure. So yeah, sadly I never actually saw it around the time it came out because, again, I was about a 1 year old baby around the time it actually came out. So I think I was actually way too young to actually see some movies in theaters for sure, to which got me to, of course, where I am today right about now. But hey, it is actually one of the interesting time capsules to, of course, that's been around in the 90s for sure. So yeah, I guess if anything, I think I knew right away that in preparation for, of course, the newest film that just came out, I've actually decided to finally take a look at the original Space Jam for, of course, what it is, and I think I will have to say, in my opinion, the original Space Jam is a decent flick in my opinion, but at the same time, I actually kind of fell in love with it for sure. So yeah, I guess if anything, I'm kind of mixed, of course, on the original Space Jam, but I did find myself having a good time with it for sure. I thought the animation was just absolutely incredible. The Looney Tunes are still likable as always, and not to mention some of the comedy actually did get me some really good laughs for sure, and of course the main factor of course all this, even though he never actually had a good acting experience throughout his time, though mainly a good majority of that is devoted to, of course, playing basketball for sure, I will have to say Michael Jordan actually did pull off a pretty good performance in the original Space Jam. So yeah, who would have thought a really well-known basketball player could actually turn out a really good performance despite little to no acting experience in the first place. So yeah, I guess if anything, that's actually what I can say for the original Space Jam for sure. It's a decent flick in my opinion, but I find myself enjoying it for, of course, what it is. It's probably on there as, of course, one of my guilty pleasures for sure. And man, who would have thought pretty much a movie based on a series of commercials back in the 90s would actually turn out to be something that's actually kind of enjoyable to watch despite the massive flaws. So yeah, that's mainly on how I felt about the original Space Jam for sure. It is a decent flick in my opinion, but I did find myself having a good time with it, and like I said, a pretty interesting time capsule to what has been going on during the 90s for sure. So yeah, and this is coming from me seeing of how I was in fact born during the mid-90s for sure. So yeah, pretty much yeah, I think I was yeah, I think you're saying, yeah, I think you're hearing all that from me, who was, of course, actually been around since, of course, pretty much since the second half of the 90s for sure. So yeah, I guess it's pretty much what I can say for the original Space Jam for sure. So yeah, since after I got out of course, seeing that film right about now, I am quite curious to, of course, to see how the new one will actually do in comparison to, of course, the original, because based on what I've actually seen in the trailers, I think there is a bit of a potential to, of course, this one. So yeah, I was actually quite curious to see on how the new film will actually be compared to, of course, the original for sure. So yeah, I guess seeing of how I actually did come out of course, a really busy weekend for sure, mainly devoted to, of course, one video project that has been in the works since 2019 for, of course, pretty much an organization that I'm working as an intern for, which will hopefully be officially be released for sure once we get it done right about now. So yeah, probably since after that, I am quite yeah, I think I've actually decided to take the opportunity to officially go and see it for what it is. So yeah, I am quite curious to see on how that'll turn out, and yeah. Now that I've actually seen it all the way through, what do I think of this movie overall? Whew, boy. That's kind of hard to say right about now, so yeah, I think I will have to say right about how, I will admit, it's not as good as the original, hands down, so yeah. I guess if anything, it does sound like this movie is, of course, bad in many ways, and yeah, it certainly does sound that way since I literally said it out loud. But I will have to admit one certain thing, however, and I mean this, one certain thing that I need to get out right about now. Pretty much for what it is, Space Jam: A New Legacy, to me at least, I know it's bad for sure, and definitely not as good as the original, but I will have to say, this movie is so bad, I actually enjoyed it. Yeah, I'm not kidding. I literally said it to you out loud. So yeah, I guess for what is with, of course, everything I'm actually seeing throughout the course of this movie is, of course, really dumb and, of course, really stupid and really terrible by all means. But I do kind of like it for sure. So yeah, I guess for, of course, what it is, you're literally hearing that from me. This movie is actually pretty bad for sure, but I ended up enjoying it for what it is. But But yeah, I think that's the perfect way I actually can describe my overall opinion on, of course, Space Jam A New, yeah, pretty much Space Jam A New Legacy for sure. I generally love this movie precisely for how bad it is, so yeah, I guess if anything, this is definitely one of those movies that I can say is pretty much in my list of movies that are so bad, they're actually pretty good, so yeah. I think with, of course, everything I'm actually seeing, they are bad, yes, but I do kind of like it for what it is, so yeah, it is definitely one of those entertainingly bad movies that I find myself enjoying for sure. I think, yeah, pretty much all it is, of course, pretty much with, of course, me going like, well, this is dumb, but at the same time, of course, mixing in with, of course, oh my god, what the hell is going on, but I kind of like it for that, so, but yeah, that's mainly on how I felt about the Space Jam A New Legacy for sure. This movie is so bad, I really enjoyed it for what it is, so yeah, that's pretty much what I can say about that. Alright. So, yeah, now that I've actually got that out of the way, I might as well go ahead and talk about everything that I need to talk about for sure to helpfully establish on why I think this movie is so bad it's really good. So, yeah, first of all is, of course, the story for, of course, this movie right about now. So, yeah, I think I will have to say for the story on, of course, this movie, I will have to admit, it's not a really good story by all means. In fact, I dare even say it's pretty much almost repeating the exact same storyline as the original Space Jam movie. But I'll also give it credit that I actually tried to do something different with it to actually make it stand out on its own and have it be completely separated from the original, which I will have to say is not a bad idea by all means. So yeah, but yeah, I guess if anything, I actually, I guess for what it is, I think I will have to admit the story, of course, this movie, I really don't think actually worked well in my opinion, but, excuse me, so, yeah, but I will give it credit that it did try to do something different to make it stand out on its own, and I really do admire that for what it is. You can't actually repeat the whole movie over and over again. You just gotta do something different to actually make it completely separate, and yeah, this movie actually did try to do that with, of course, its story, but not fully enough to actually get you fully engaged for sure, So yeah, I think it's pretty much what I can say on that. But of course, I think I will have to say the film's writing. I have to say again, I will have to admit it's not really structured out pretty well. It's a lot more cliched and of course broken down and a bit of a mess for sure. But at the same time, a good number of parts of it actually are written pretty well, and I will have to admit some of the comedy, of course, this movie. I will admit, they did get a good laugh out of me for sure. Like, yeah, I think with, of course, what is they did have a really nice mixture of course, some really good jokes that are pretty funny, but also had a bit of a few bad ones that made me go, ew, that was awful. So yeah, I think the writing is a bit hit and miss for sure, but yeah. But mainly more on the miss, but a little bit of a sprinkle of a hit for sure. So yeah, I guess if anything, much like how I felt about the story, the writing, I have to say, it is a mess for sure. But it did make up for it for, of course, some things I actually do like for sure. And again, some of the jokes in, of course, this movie and a good number of the film's comedy actually did work well in my opinion. So yeah, I guess it's pretty much what I can say on that. Alright. So yeah, that's mainly how I felt about the story and the writing right about now. Pretty much the next thing I need to talk about is, of course, the characters right about now. So So yeah, I think with a good number of characters running about now, some of them I will have to say I am fully investing in for sure. Like of course, I really cannot get enough of the Looney Tunes as always. They're still pretty likable to watch, but at the same time they did mix in some characters that I just don't think are actually that interesting to be honest. Like of course, I didn't find the villain of course this movie right about now, for while not really as strong as the villains, and of course you know, or in this case the Monstars in the original, I just kind of felt that maybe pretty much the villain in this movie is kind of bland and forgettable for sure. Like I just really don't care on, of course, his evil plan or his motivation or anything. And and even when I look at it, I was like, what's the big deal on that? I mean, your evil plan is that you want to get attention. So what? So, but yeah, I guess regardless on that, I guess it's pretty much what I can say about the characters for sure. It's kind of half and half for me right about now. So yeah, I guess it's pretty much what I can say on that. But I will have to say the actors that actually played all the characters in, of course, this movie, they actually did pull off some pretty good performances, in my opinion. Like, yeah, like, of course, being the voice, pretty much for, of course, the voice cast for, of course, the Looney Tunes for sure is that they actually did do a fine job for of course, this one, for sure. Like, of course, I do know that that Eric Bauza is, of course, the voice for some of the characters that are, of course, part of the Looney Tunes universe. That of course are definitely part of this movie. Like, of course, let's say Daffy Duck and Marvin the Martian. I say he actually did do a fine job in, of course, making his characters his own, while of course still retaining their personalities. That's not a really easy job to actually get, and of course I do find it quite interesting that apparently Zendaya is, of course, now the new voice for Lola Bunny right about now. I guess apparently Catherine Susie must have yeah, maybe they didn't get Catherine Susie to, of course, reprise her role right about now, and they instead decide to get Zendaya at the last minute. Kind of makes sense. But I guess if anything, I think pretty much on top of all that, I think I will have to say, I think I should mention LeBron James for sure. So yeah, I think I will have to say, I think he did do a fine job in this movie for sure. I mean, he actually does have a somehow decent career in the movie industry, and I do know he's a really respectable basketball player for sure. But for the case of this movie, he actually did do a fine job portraying himself in, of course, this movie. I mean, granted, he cannot top Michael Jordan for sure, but I say he actually did do a fine job in this movie. So yeah, regardless of course, what I have to say about the characters, all the actors that came on board to play all these characters in this movie, they actually did pull off some pretty good performances in my opinion. So yeah, it's pretty much what I can say on that. Alright. So yeah, now that I've actually got those two out of the way, what else is there for me to talk about for sure? Well, quite a lot actually. Like of course, for starters, right about now, I think seeing of how a good number of this movie is, of course, animated, I think it's appropriate enough to, of course, talk about the animation for sure. And I think I have to say, this movie actually does have some really good animation by far. I think with, of course, everything I'm actually seeing right about now, I say it's done massively well for sure, and I really do admire the way on how well it actually looks. Still retaining, of course, the main art style for, of course, the Looney Tunes cartoons, but modernizing big for, of course, this movie right about now, and that's something I actually really do admire for sure. And not to mention, it also did a fine job, and of course, giving it a massive upgrade in comparison to, of course, the original, where, of course, pretty much half of this movie is mainly animated for sure to make it look like 2D animation, while the later half of course, this movie, they actually did bring in some really marvelous 3D animation. Yeah, pretty much the characters are still... yeah, pretty much the characters are still the Looney Tunes characters that we all know and love, but pretty much they modernized the animation a bit to actually make it look good in a 3D environment, or of course a live action environment. Yeah, it's still retaining the original cartoon style, but still actually giving it some massive amount of texture and some brilliant 3D environment to actually be around in for sure. So, and I will have to say, that's actually a really impressive route that they actually went for of course, this one. I think it's pretty much, I think I know pretty much in comparison to, of course, the original, I still love the animation for, of course, what it is, and I think with, of course, the style it went for, pretty much kind of reminded me of Who Framed Roger Rabbit for sure, but I'll give this movie credit. Actually, didn't go for the same route for sure. But even if they did, then that would have made it a lot more awesome. But hey, I'm actually glad they actually went into a brand new direction for, of course, the animation and, of course, this movie. I think they did an incredible job for sure. And speaking of course, the later half of the animation, that's another thing I should mention right about now. I really love on how visually the film actually looks by far. So yeah, I think with, of course, everything I'm actually seeing, the visuals in, of course, this movie are done massively well, whether it be, of course, some brilliant CGI animation that they threw into it, to even the incredible world of course, the entire Warner Brothers serververse that they actually brought into it. So, yeah, I think I will have to say, I think it did kind of confuse me a bit at first, almost like, are we about to enter another cinematic universe based on, of course, what we're seeing? Because it almost kind of looks that way. But I will also give it credit that it didn't want to go that route, but wanted to give the serververse, the Warner Brothers serververse as like its own separate world for sure. Like, of course, you can actually go into, of course, the different properties that were owned by Warner Brothers for sure. So yeah. But yeah, regardless on that, and pretty much the whole Warner Brothers stuff that I actually mentioned, I'll get to that in a bit, but I still have to say, much like how I felt about the animation, I really do admire the visuals for sure. They look marvelous as always, and I really love the way it turned out. And of course, I should mention right now, the direction, of course, of this movie by, of course, the film's director, Malcolm D. Lee. I just don't think it's actually done massively well, in my opinion. Like, pretty much every single bit of direction that he's been giving, and not to mention some notes he had to endure while the movie's in production, I just kind of felt that maybe it's not really that appealing to me, and maybe I think it could have been done a whole lot better to make this movie stand out on its own. So, but yeah, I think it's pretty much what I can say on that. But I think I will have to say, going back a bit to the positives for sure, I really do admire on the incredible cinematography for, of course, this movie, as this movie was shot massively well with, of course, some nice camera shots and even some camera movements. It actually does kind of feel like you're actually there and actually, you know, pretty much playing basketball with the Looney Tunes. That's how great the cinematography is, and I really do admire the way how well shot it is, and I also really do admire on how well edited this movie is, as it did actually help with, of course, the movie's pacing for sure. That's actually how much I really like it, hands down. But I think I will have to say, pretty much going back a bit, stepping aside from the positives right about now, pretty much the most important thing that I should mention is that, as much as I will have to say the Warner Brothers serververse is actually a very unique idea, I just kind of felt that with all the with all the amounts of IPs that Warner Brothers actually has right about now, being, of course, stuff relating to DC, stuff relating to Hanna-Barbera, stuff relating to Game of Thrones, Wizard of Oz, and yeah, just to name a few, to be honest, I just kind of felt that they might have been overused a whole lot, and pretty much not helping to give the film a whole lot of focus right about now, which I do find it quite distracting. But I do feel bad for saying that, because based on what I saw in the trailers, it does kind of look like they're almost advertising it as like an insane version of Ready Player One. But I just kind of felt it's not really done massively well, in my opinion. So yeah, I guess it's what I can say on that. Alright. So yeah, I guess with everything that I need to say right about now, it's pretty much what I thought about Space Jam: A New Legacy right about now. So yeah, I guess overall, Space Jam: A New Legacy, I will admit, it is bad, but it's entertainingly bad for sure. So yeah, I think it's definitely one of those movies that I think is so bad it's actually really good. Yeah, I think with, of course, everything I'm seeing, the story, the story and the writing, I just don't think actually flowed down pretty well. Some of the characters are not really that interesting, and it does kind of feel dumb, and of course, what it's trying to do, and I will admit there are some unfunny scenes and some awkward moments for sure, but at the same time, I still enjoyed it at the same time because the actors pulled off good performances. There are some funny jokes. The animation is, of course, absolutely incredible, and it can be a fun blast for sure. So yeah, Space Jam: A New Legacy is bad, but it's so bad, it's amazing. I think it's definitely one of those so bad it's good movies that is actually well worth checking out, and of course, it's definitely on par for me, at least, as one of my favorite best worst movies that I've actually seen right about now. So yeah, I just actually really enjoyed this movie precisely for how bad it is for sure. So yeah, it's dumb, but it's fascinatingly dumb for sure. But I do know hands down that I know it cannot top the original Space Jam for sure. It's the perfect time capsule from the 90s that can never be duplicated for sure. So yeah, I'll always prefer the original Space Jam for, of course, what it is. While, of course, the new film, I can definitely treat as, of course, a nice standalone product with, of course, a similar name for sure. So yeah, like I said, I enjoyed this movie for what it is, precisely for how bad it is for sure. It's not a hate campaign against it. I definitely like it, despite of how awful it is. So yeah, I guess if you are quite curious to see it for yourself and want to have the same experience as I do, then don't worry about a thing. You can definitely check it out on the big screen like I just did, or if you want to see at the comfort of your own home, then HBO Max has got you covered. So yeah, what else can I say? If you want to experience this movie for yourself and want to have the same reaction as me, this movie is for you. So yeah, for my final score right about now, I'm of course going to give this movie a 4.5 out of 10. Like I said, this movie is bad for sure, but I will have to say it is so bad, I enjoyed it for what it is. Definitely on there is, of course, one of my, probably one of my favorite movies that I think is so bad, it's good. So yeah, definitely one of those so bad, it's good movies that I absolutely love to watch. So yeah, I guess if anything, that's pretty much what I can say about it. So yeah, if you want to see it for yourself, then go right ahead. I won't stop you from seeing it, and who knows? Maybe you might have the same reaction as me, maybe not, but we'll see. So yeah, what else can I say except strap on your basketball uniform and shoot some hoops to see this movie for yourself. So yeah, it's pretty much what I can say on that. Alright. So yeah, I guess with everything that I need to say, that's pretty much everything that I can say for, of course, this video. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this latest thoughts video, and let me know in the comment section below if you have seen Space Jam: A New Legacy and what you thought about it, as well as, of course, leaving me constructive criticism and or advice on how I can improve my videos in the near future. And of course, as always, Feel free to send me an email if you want to ask me any questions, or if you just want to book me for a con or event that'll be coming up sometime in the near future. Follow me on my social media sites like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and plenty of other social media sites that I have provided if you want to keep up to date with me, with, of course, the links down in the description box below. And, of course, support me on Patreon if you want to see some sneak peeks to some videos I got coming up, as well as some other awesome rewards that will help fit into your budget. And, of course, if you enjoyed today's video, then feel free to give it a massive thumbs up, as it really does help this channel out. And speaking of my channel, feel free to subscribe and turn on the notification bell and select all notifications if you want to see more videos like this coming up in the near future. So yeah, that's pretty much about it. Thank you guys so much for watching this latest thoughts video right about now, and yeah, got a whole lot of busy stuff to actually work on for sure, but I definitely know what I'm going to be talking about for the next thoughts video, but I won't tell you what it is. That's something you're going to have to tune in to see for yourself. So yeah, I guess until then, thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next video. Take care.